When it comes to survival horrors, the Resident Evil series is one of the defining titles in that genre. While they weren't the first survival horror games as such, Resident Evil did coin and popularise the term, and the series has been going strong for 30 years, with Resident Evil Requiem being the latest game in the long-running series as at the time of this review. Today we're going to do something a little different though. While we will be looking at the classic trilogy of Resident Evil 1, 2 and 3, we're going to be looking at a mod for the games, and a very ambitious one at that. Today's review will be on Biorand, a Resident Evil randomizer originally released towards the end of 2022 and still seeing updates today. And while they do have one for the modern releases of Resident Evil 2 and 4 and one in the works for Requiem, today's video will just cover Biorand for the classic trilogy. Biorand requires particular versions of the PC version of the Resident Evil trilogy, with Resident Evil being the Niigaki version and Resident Evil 2 and 3 being the Source Next versions. The mod also requires the Resident Evil Classic Rebirth patches, which adds quality of life updates such as quick turning in older games, tactical reloading as well as door skipping, and is also compatible with the Seamless HD project, and you can get them in one big pack through the Biorand website, which I've included in the video description below if you want to check it out. Though for most of this review, I played through each game without the Seamless HD project. For transparency, I'm listed in the credits of Biorand, which can be found at the end of Resident Evil 2, as I'd streamed a couple of runs of the game a number of years back, and I have friends who have contributed to the mod, with a couple voicing the Biorand announcement when you start the game, and one for an upcoming character pack. The Biorand community I've found is very welcoming, and they even host races between streamers in the form of a tournament to raise money for Mind, a mental health charity in England and Wales. Biorand was originally developed by modders Intelorca, CashUp, Snips and Sky, and over time, more people have joined up to contribute models, voices, textures and bug fixes to the project. As I mentioned earlier, Biorand is a mod which allows you to experience the events of classic Resident Evil 1, 2 and 3 with a twist. The mod lets you change a lot of things that you can experience in the game. You can change the character model that you're playing as, change everyone else's models, randomise your loadout, enemy and item placements, cutscenes, music, and even the whole layout of the game. But is this mod any good? Find out in The Good. I really like the options and settings that you can choose and adjust to randomise your game. By generating random seeds, you'll find that no two games will be exactly the same, which really builds on the replay factor, and because items can be in random places, you can't entirely rely on knowing exactly what items you'll be picking up, though if you're familiar with where you can find items, then that will certainly help. Other things you can adjust are things such as what weapons you'll have, whether enemies will appear in save rooms, number of enemies spawning in rooms, and even ratio of enemies and items you'll come across. The game will even randomise music with tunes from across the series playing in different rooms and areas. Resident Evil 2 gets a special mention here, as its randomizer even allows you to have random events happen. On the odd occasion you might find characters run through a room that you're in, or maybe even have one stop to provide a service to you, such as giving you or trading items, healing your character, healing poison, or even joining you on your adventure. You can also choose to keep the room layouts the same as in the original games, or you can randomise room locations, and by doing this you can have segmented runs with boss fights separating each segment. The more segments you have, the longer the game will be. Characters that appear in Biorand can be randomised, and the lines they say in cutscenes can be too, and you can get some pretty amusing situations out of it.
Around. You're not getting off that easy. Come on. Shit!
Do it! Please! I play Street Fighter. I know the moves.
Resident Evil, Umbrella Chronicles.
You and I are in the same boat now. I'd say that officially makes us partners. Like it or not.
Have you made any progress?
Don't worry about me. Just rescue the survivors in the other rooms.
You must be the leader of the cleaner unit sent by Umbrella to destroy the evidence of this biohazard.
Chris and the other STARS members discovered that Umbrella was behind everything.
Hello, I'm Vincent. I've been transferred to this facility to inspect it.
Chris and the other STARS members discovered that Umbrella was behind everything, at the risk of their own lives. But no one believed them.
You look familiar, but... but I just can't remember.
Sorry, but it looks like your party has been cancelled.
No. It was all my fault!
That was too close.
Who are you?
Shh.
You can't let that happen. If you don't, I'll become one of them. Just go.
The mod features characters from throughout Resident Evil, whether it be classic or modern games, and even characters from spin-offs such as Resident Evil Survivor and Outbreak. Hell, with Biorand they've even thrown in Harry Mason from Silent Hill as well as Regina from Dino Crisis. A friend of mine was also involved in an upcoming Parasite Eve pack too, so I'm personally looking forward to giving that a spin. There's also packs out there that add other characters too, though admittedly I've only stuck with the default characters that are available. The mod itself is perfect for streaming as the random nature of what the seed gives you, the humorous cutscenes and segmented runs, all make for a really fun time. However, even a mod as ambitious as Biorand isn't perfect, and we can discuss what didn't work in the bad. While this didn't happen very often when I was capturing footage, randomizing a run won't always be perfect. If you're randomizing item placements or doing a segmented run, you may find that you can accidentally softlock yourself from progressing. Thankfully, each game has a debug mode thanks to the requirements of having the classic rebirth patches, and when you generate a seed, you'll also get a file which tells you where each item is, so you can use debug mode to teleport yourself. It might even come down to not checking an area properly either. While it may seem a little cheap, at least you can get yourself out of being stuck. I've also had situations where enemies have spawned out of bounds, with some that you can see and others you can hear. But as you can simply ignore enemies to progress and save ammo, this wasn't a huge issue. There are some inconsistencies, particularly with Resident Evil 1, in which certain characters and events might change randomly, though I can probably chalk this up to just being a randomizer. In Resident Evil 2, if you have a character following you, it can sometimes get the character name and portrait wrong when you go into your inventory, though this is just a cosmetic issue. Now, this only happened with Resident Evil 3, but I also found an instance where a room was reused, once for a cutscene with no enemies in it that I could freely explore afterwards, and again with enemies in it, and I found that if I attacked the enemies in that room, the game would crash. Other than that, I don't have anything else to complain about, so let's wrap things up with the opinion. Biorand I think is one of the definitive mods that you need to get for the original Resident Evil trilogy. It mixes up where your items are, which rooms you can go into, the enemies you face, and even the characters you encounter and play as. Being a randomizer, it has a lot of replay value, and while there is a small chance of soft locking, some enemies spawning out of bounds, inconsistent characters and scenes, and even the game crashing, I think these are pretty minor, and with the game crashing I only experienced this issue once. If you like the classic Resident Evil games, then this is definitely a mod to try out, and if you stream, Biorand makes for some really good content too. So with that, it's time for my rating. I would give Biorand the King Plug out of 10. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next Infinite Backlog review. If you enjoyed today's review, feel free to like, comment and subscribe for more. You can check out our other videos or follow us on X, Instagram and Facebook. Once again, thank you for watching.